Hey guys, this is Laura from Neogen. So I hope you guys saw my little reminder yesterday about the Facebook Live today. So today we're actually doing a special on pores and the importance of healthy pores and pore care. And so I just briefly wanted to explain, first of all, people always get confused, like what are pores, like why exactly is it so important, and what exactly, people don't understand that our body is pretty much all composed of pores. So I'm just gonna first briefly explain about pores. So in our body, in our face, we have about 20,000 pores, and that's a lot of pores in your body. So all these pores, pretty much how healthy these single pores are that make up our body. It's almost like, you know, when you see those artists, they do little pointillization? I don't know, it's like a technique where you usually use little dots and specks, and then all of that put together creates an image. So that's pretty much what our pores are to our skin. So if your pores are not that great in good shape, then of course the outcome of your overall face quality, the skin texture, the shine, the smoothness, the evenness of it, everything, and even the wrinkles and everything will all be impacted by how healthy your single pores are all put together. So people don't realize that skincare is not really just about moisturizing and nourishing and regenerating. It's actually, it all comes down to are those pores that make up your skin healthy? That really what the basic and foundation of healthy pores, healthy skin is in general. So I got a lot of questions about people always get confused, okay, so what are hair follicles versus pores? Because I know that there's a lot of issues with people getting ingrown hair, and sometimes that turns into acne, little cysts and stuff. So then people are so I don't understand, is that, I thought it was a hair follicle, so then why do people call it a follicle versus a pore? Well, they're technically, follicles and your pores are they're kind of directly just related. They're almost like a connected body and an entity. So what happens is that I drew a little diagram for you. I used my art skills. Do you guys like it? Okay, so if you look here, sorry, I have two things going on. So I just want to make sure that you can see it. So this is your skin, obviously. This is your hair. Of course, it could be blonde if you're a blonde. And then here is the little pink section is your hair follicle. And then, you know, these little deposits here, those are where your glands, sebaceous glands, are located. So as you could see, when I say that the pores are directly related, you know this little gap here? That's pretty much your pore. So with every hair follicle and every hair, there's gonna be a pore with that. So imagine all the hairs in your body and in your face especially. So imagine how many of them exist. There's at least about 4.9 million pores in your whole body, and of that 20,000 of them are located in your, usually an average about that much is approximately located in an average female's face. So as you can see, the hair follicles go up along your hair where the follicle starts, and then it just wraps up until this opening, and this opening is what we call pores. So that's why it's a little confusing for people, because technically they kind of relate directly to each other. And as you can see, this is what we are all scared of, the sebaceous gland. So the sebaceous gland is where, you know, the term sebum, that's where sebum gets produced, sebum and oil, /oil. So I also did a little diagram of that for you as well. So the sebaceous glands, actually it produces, oh crap, I forgot that it's gonna be flipped. So let me just read it to you. So the sebaceous gland, it produces oil and sebum, and the function of it is mainly to waterproof and lubricate the hair, so that our hair is not, you know, we're not constantly wet if we get hit in the rain. And then there's another gland we talk about when we talk about pore care and healthy skin, and that is actually also the sweat gland. This is something that people interchange sometimes that shouldn't be. They're two different glands. So one purely produces sweat, and the other one produces sebum and oil, which is the sebaceous gland. So the sebaceous gland is triggered and it produces more oil when there's more testosterone produced in the body. So of course, when you work out, you're going to produce more oil. When there's any kind of like activity where it produces more testosterone or hormones in your body, that's going to activate the oil glands. And that is why a lot of men, they also have more oil glands in their face, but they also produce more, they have more acne and oil problems as teenagers because of the fact that they're more actively producing testosterone when they're in their puberty stage. And along with that, they're naturally start out with more glands. And that gets triggered by the male hormones testosterone. So that's why men tend to have these problems, and it kind of still, a lot of guys have been reaching out to me about how do they get this under control, because they're still like, they're now entering like mid-20s and some of them into their 30s, and they're like, how am I going to get this under control? I'm a grown-up now. You know, I shouldn't be having acne problems. Oh, thank you. It's actually quite messy. It's very hot today here in New York. Our office is located in New York, so I'm usually home basing out of here if I'm not traveling for work. But yeah, so that's the reason why a lot of men have issues with that. So it's a little bit more important for men, and men naturally have bigger pores than women on average. So that is why it's especially more crucial for men to pay attention to pore care, because this is pretty much a very predominantly big issue and a big determining factor in how healthy men's skin are in the long term. So anyways, the sebaceous gland produces sebum and oil, and it's there to waterproof and lubricate the hair. And then the sweat gland, of course, it produces sweat, and that's like the sweat glands are, the main purpose of it is to actually protect the skin from dryness and also cool our body temperature when it gets higher. And also it's to help prevent and like kick out the bacteria from entering into our body. So it's mostly like the combined effects of overproduction of the sweat and sebum put together is what pretty much a very big issue to okay, so, oh yay, we have men. I was actually expecting a lot of guys to show up for this live because I feel that pores, acne is pretty much the biggest concern I hear from men, and it's like, I'm noticing that a lot of guys are like really sick and tired of like dealing with skin, like acne problems. And you know, I feel like a lot of them thought that, oh, it's because I was a teenager, I had these problems, and they're realizing like, no, it's not going away, and it's like becoming like really annoying problem for them. And a lot of my guy friends always like, that's like the first thing like, how do I get rid of this pimple? Like that's every time, that's like the biggest question and common frequent question I get. Okay, so the reason I'm talking about these two glands and sebum and oil and like sweat is because that is actually what is predominantly causing your pores to become clogged, congested, like to stretch, because that is why in the end why I'm saying pore care is important is because when your pores are not healthy and they're stretching, then that's also causing your whole overall face to look stretched out and sag. And so pretty much having tight, refined, very clean pores is the essential to what makes your overall skin look really healthy, and that's what makes it look very radiant, healthy, and vibrant. And and also the texture to be very smooth. So if you have like crappy pores, literally, that are stretched out, sagging because you didn't clean them well, that's gonna affect how overall your skin looks. And it's also gonna make your skin feel rough. If you also don't exfoliate enough, that's also gonna be like a big issue because you're just clogging up your pores because all that stuff is just blocking the pore opening. As you saw in my little cool diagram here, it's an opening. It's literally an opening. Like if there was a water bottle and all the water in there was like all the like oils and everything that causes the blockage, that opening that the water comes out from is your pores. So you have to maintain a clear pathway for that. Also, oh, you're taking notes for your BFF. Oh, I know a lot of guys are starting to really get up on that sheet masking. I think it's because it's very simple. It's simple to operate, like a luxury sports car, right? Just it looks fancy on the outside, but then you go in and it's like really productive and simple to use. I think men like that's like the main thing that guys look for, right? Okay, so now that we talked about those two things, I actually created. Oh, Julie, can you pass me that paper that I prepared for this live? Sorry. Thank you. So you guys could read about this on the blog today that was that we posted today. So if you forget some of the stuff that I share with you guys, you guys could go back to that blog and read it anytime you want. This is the thing is that people often look at their face and they think about the skin tissue and the flesh. What they don't realize is that all the tissues are composed of pores, right? And so, as I said, on the female average, they have about 20,000 pores located just on their face. So if you think about it, those are 20,000 holes and openings in your skin. So imagine if each of those openings overall, if you predominantly, those openings are not healthy, then your overall face quality of like how nice it is, it will drastically lower. I mean, if you say like out of the 20,000, like 80% of those pores are clogged or not taken care of well, then you could kind of imagine like how overall all those pores put together, what kind of picture it's going to create, right? So, another thing is that unfortunately pores, a lot of this, the aspect of like how small your pores are and the visibility of the pores, that's technically genetics. There's not a lot you can do if you're naturally, some people, as you can see from around you, like you probably notice there are some people who, it's not necessarily that they don't take care of their skin, but they just naturally have like bigger pores or pores that are more visible than say your friend sitting over there versus a friend over here. So the visibility of the pores and how big they are, a lot of it has to do really related to genetics, and it's something that you're naturally kind of born with, you know. That's just kind of how it works. But just because you're naturally, you're born with a little bit more enlarged pores, it's not an excuse for you to not have overall a long-term great skin quality. And that's why I wanted to do this session, because even though there's nothing out there that could literally shrink back, like shrink your pores from what they naturally are, or how much they've already expanded or they got stretched out. There's things you can do to maintain it, to prevent it, and kind of reduce the visibility of it. So the size of the pores won't reduce, but you could reduce how visible they're gonna appear. So the first steps in that is, of course, you have to have very clean maintenance of your pores. So when I mean that is that I have a lot of friends who cleanse, and this is my rule. You're not cleansing properly if your towel is getting dirty. Your face towel should not be getting dirty if you're cleansing properly. Because if you cleanse properly, all that you should be dabbing off with the face towel is moisture and water, and that doesn't have color in it. So if you're getting foundation stains, if you're getting lipstick stains, that means like in your overall face cleansing process, you're missing something and you're not cleansing thoroughly, and there's debris left on your face. So that is the biggest way for you to check, like, okay, so Laura said you have to cleanse properly, but how do I know if I'm cleansing properly? Like, who's the judge of that? The judge of that is a towel, your face towel. So if you want to make sure that you're cleansing properly, my suggestion is that for your face towels, always use a white color towel, just because this kind of keeps you visibly in check. Like if you start to see that like, oh, my face towel's clean, like you're going to start paying more attention. Like, or if you saw that like you wiped off your face and then there was like still stuff coming off on the towel, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm missing a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned off. So you're gonna go and ensure that take all of that makeup and the impurities off. So it kind of is, it's almost like, you know how the 10-step skin routine, people think that it's like some kind of like crazy complex kind of system of skincare, but it's not. The 10-step cleansing, the 10-step skincare routine that the Korean women use, it's more like they just broke down it into detailed steps. And what they did is to by doing a micromanagement like detailed step breakdown. It's just kind of like your own status checker, so that it just kind of without somebody, a professional, or going to a skincare treatment center, you can, by using these steps, it ensures you, because it's so tedious and it's so broken down into detail, it just kind of ensures that you do follow the proper steps and you are forced to engage in proper skincare. So, so in this case, when people want to learn how do I know if I'm cleansing properly, this is a tip I recommend, and this is kind of like your self-checker and helper, and so this is just a tip that I like to personally, I've learned it works for me, and I've recommended to my friends. And a lot of my friends that are not very, very knowledgeable in skincare, they found that this kind of tool, the advice I gave them, was like a good way for them to keep track, even when I'm not always available to answer their questions, like if they're doing their cleansing properly. So that's the first thing. Always use a white or light colored face towel for your face, and use that one, and make sure to check to see if there's any debris or any like leftover stains that are staining your towel. So now I feel like when you go to like Target or wherever, all the white face towels are gonna be gone, hopefully. But that's a good sign, right? That means everybody took my advice and are getting serious about cleansing their face properly. Okay, so the reason why cleansing is super important, and to get all of that out is it's really crucial, is because when things are lodged inside your pores, they're gonna they're gonna put weight on your pores, and that's gonna stretch and sag. That's what's gonna create that hole to get, like, you kind of have to think about it. Your skin is, you know how they say, oh, firming, elasticity increasing. That is because as you get older, the biggest thing that gets compromised is elasticity. Your skin is not like, it's like a rubber band. You know, if you keep using that same hair tie, it's going to slowly, it started out this small when it's not stretched out, but then like eventually, you know, it's too loose to like have hanging on. Like I have one like that right now. This used to be tight on my wrist, but now it's not. So you could think about your pores like that. But imagine if there's like constantly things that are adding a little bit more weight, a little bit, you know, look how much it's going to stretch. So you have to make sure that you have to empty out all those unnecessary oils, dirt, makeup, like all that stuff. Somebody said, you only use toilet paper. What, paper towel or toilet paper in the bathroom? Okay, that's I mean, it's up to you, but usually paper towels and toilet paper are rougher. So another thing is that they're not meant for applying to wash off like your places like your face. So actually, when I was living in Korea, when I was younger, in Korea, when you go to the restaurants, they sometimes put a roll of toilet paper out in the restaurants instead of napkins. That, you know, they would just hang toilet paper like when you go to Korean barbecue in Korea. And people would just be wiping their like face with like toilet paper. At first, as a child who was born in America, like where we have napkins and like, you know, it's like, I was like so confused. I was like, I don't understand. I was like, Mommy, what's going on? But that's actually what they use. And actually, while I was growing up there, I saw in the news that it's actually not that good to use toilet paper for your face, because a lot of them have environmental hormones that are not good, because they're not like unlike paper towels and facial tissues that are meant to be in direct contact near your mouth and your face. Toilet papers are, you know, pretty much to wipe your butt, and therefore the kind of like sensitivity that goes involved in the production of toilet paper is not, you know, it's not as thorough and probably strict as things that are meant to be applied for the face. So I just would suggest you to, use a face towel. Also, like, it's rough. Like, a lot of toilet papers are rough, or, you know, a lot of them, if they're not rough, like if they're C brand, like, you know, the one with the teddy bear mascots. If they're that kind of brand, like, then you get like all the dust from the, you know, they say it's soft, but then it leaves a lot of dust debris, and so you don't want that on your face. I just personally recommend like a soft facial towel made of pure 100% cotton, because you know cotton is one of the oldest fabrics human civilization has been using. It's known to be the most hypoallergenic and least irritating. I just would stick to the basics of, you know, how we used to always do it. Oh, so paper towel. Yeah, and paper towel, like, so even the same with paper towel, it's okay if you want to use paper towel, but I just don't, honestly, the best method for me is like, I know, like, I'm really anal about cleansing my face because I used to get a lot of irritation on my skin because I used to have eczema and everything. So I've grown really strict about cleansing. So I don't really use the whole like white towel rule like to check myself, because I'm pretty like thorough. So I like to and I also tend to have really dry skin. So I like to actually not use a towel. I like to just let it air dry, or I put on a toner or mist and I kind of like dab it in there. So it's kind of like that no towel dry method that's been like trending. And so that's what I use. So, but paper towels are fine, but I'm just saying they're usually a little bit rougher. Soft microfiber, yeah, microfiber is a good fabric because it's soft and it wicks. It has good wicking ability of moisture. But it might not be so great for people who have dry skin because it could wick a little bit more moisture that's naturally occurring in your skin on top of the water that's on the surface of your skin. So, I mean, just give it a try. Like, it's the amount of difference of how much more it wicks, it's not going to be like crazy amounts, but it's always better, right? If you kind of find a better outcome or a better method, I think it's definitely better to opt for that option, right? Even if it's a little better. So, yeah, so somebody said none of the Koreans use face towel for their face. We tap it on top, wipe the faces like scratch. Oh, yeah, so that is a popular trend amongst Koreans. As I said, I usually air dry, and I layer on essence and toners and mists. But some people don't like that wet feeling, so it really comes down to, sometimes there's better methods to do things, but you still have to feel comfortable with it. So I'm not one of those people who I work in this industry, so I study a lot of the things and I know what's better, but I don't like to impose that upon people because I just want people to feel comfortable while they're doing their skincare. Not only does it have to be better for you, but you have to feel comfortable. Like, even though like maybe research wise it's better results if you do it a certain way, but it doesn't make you feel emotionally comfortable to have like a wet face, then I wouldn't force it upon you just because that's how somebody says to do it. Of course, the only times I will force things is making sure if you're not properly cleansing, if you're not properly applying skincare, like for instance, like if you're, if you're just not doing the proper chronological order of steps of the skincare, yes, I will definitely address that and point it out and be obvious about it. But when it comes to things that are like these kind of slight differences of, oh, like what do you use to dry off your face? Like I'll tell you that, well, science says, or like, studies show or the trends show that this actually is better and more effective. But in the end, like I'm not going to force you, oh, you have to use that method to dry your face. Because like if some people just, for instance, my mother, she just resists any creams that make her skin feel sticky, even though it has the best ingredients, and it just is inevitable that it feels like that when it finishes. She doesn't care how good it is. She doesn't feel comfortable. It annoys the hell out of her when it's sticky, and so she has to. She says, no, I don't want to use it. And you know what? I don't force it because she should feel comfortable. Not only should she look good, but she should feel good. Half of it, skincare, you should enjoy the skincare experience and you should have fun doing it. If it's in any way your skincare experience is not comfortable for you, then, that's not good. You have to, in the process of the path to looking better, you have to feel good and confident while you're doing it, right? So I hope you guys could respect that. And I do definitely, I'd love to hear how all the, how everybody else is doing their skincare, and it's great. I'm here more as like, I'm here to share and also like kind of relay on other things that the community has told me of things I've learned from, you know, people that are on Facebook Live with me and communicating with me, or communicating with me on the social media platforms. And, you know, I like to share all this information that I collect, but I will, you know, I try not to be like very forceful in making people do stuff if they don't feel comfortable in the process of doing it. And that's why I say skincare is just something that you have to fully immerse yourself, and you have to really listen to yourself. And I think skincare in that aspect is a very meditating type of concept. So somebody told me they like to use facial tissues, tap dry, and use a cognac sponge rather than a towel. Yeah, so all these are great suggestions. I personally, I don't use that method, but for some people, like, that works. I've seen people use all kinds of methods to dry. Like, I've had friends, I had a girlfriend who didn't use a towel for any part of her face or her body after a shower to dry off. She literally just lathered on coconut oil or like apricot seed oil just constantly until all the water just like went away. So there's a lot of like different methods that you guys can use to dry off your skin. So now that we talked about skin cleansing, so cleansing your pores properly is very important, but also especially your pores can go down pretty deep. So it's always good to use a lot of those, like, I know clays have been making a comeback. Our moms used to use it, and now it's doing it again. Like, it's doing another round of trends. So clays are really great because they're natural, like, resource ingredients. And a lot of clays tend to have that magnetizing and absorbing effect of like kind of being able to trap and capture and pull out dirt, impurities, and excess oil. So it's really, really good to for you to incorporate like a clay derived product. We have one. We have the Pore mask, and this is from Canadian glacial clay. And so glacial clay is actually abundant in minerals, while it's the clay itself has very, very good properties of like absorbing and capturing and pulling out dust and impurities and toxins from your body. So this is really, really great for that. And I always suggest everybody to have at least one of these. You don't have to use the clay derived cleansing product every day, but I'm saying it's good to do a proper cleanse about twice a day, but every once in a while during the week, kind of fit in like a really effective deep pore cleansing product like this about 2 to 3 times a week. And so somebody asked me in this process, any recommendations for skin so dry and is always flaking? Okay, so yes, so clays are really good in that aspect because it captures not just it captures debris as well. So your sebum, when your pores also produce sebum, not only is it to lubricate and moisturize and like your hair follicles and everything, it is also all the lodged dead skin cells along the hair follicle. It's almost like a little tunnel. It also helps deliver and carry out that to the surface. So cleansing products that are very good for deep pore cleansing, like clay, they also tend to help pull out along with that, you know, any dead skin cells. And another thing I recommend for skin that is really dry and always flaking, you don't want to use such stripping because you're already dry. So that means you have to get rid of the dead skin cells effectively, but at the same time, you should also try to find a way to minimize as much moisture loss, right? So I try to tell them to use exfoliating products every once in a while. Like, of course, here we have I think this one's actually better. This BioPure's main function is mostly the exfoliating process. On the other hand, the lemon green caviar essence and tox tightening pack, this is how it actually comes. This is just a 1 pad sample. This is actually better for, I think, dry skin because it uses the same patented pad technology. This is actually the product innovation to these biopeels. So the original product inspiration started from this. And one of the biggest retail chains in Korea, their head buyer said, oh, we gotta have this, but in one jar and simplify the functions. And so that's how the BioPeel was born. But this is actually really great if you have skin that is so dry and it's still always flaking, so you still need to exfoliate it. I would actually recommend this versus the BioPeel because this is doing the same exfoliation benefits to the skin and using the same patented pad technology. But the great thing about it is that it's almost a hybrid of exfoliating the biopeels and hybrid with a essence. So you actually leave this on. So the saturated essence in the pad in this specific product, it's meant to be left on like a pack. So I think this is better for somebody who is dealing with the issues like you have, the flaky skin, but it's still really dry. Then I would try to use an exfoliator that something that exfoliates, but also it's replenishing so that your skin is not losing moisture and it's actually getting lubricated and moisturized at the same time. Another thing I recommend for skin types like yourself is that Pore brush. So you can use like a lot gentler and moisturizing cleanser, and maybe you can use this like on a daily basis. So this will give you more, these are really fine bristles. I think there's like over like 50,000 handmade technique bristles. So it doesn't shed or anything. It's so soft. But anyways, you could get a milder cleanser because your skin tends to be really dry, and use it with this on a daily basis. Like our coconut milk cleanser is probably great for you because it's very hydrating, and it also gets rid of makeup and it also cleanses at the same time. So if you incorporate that with the subtle exfoliating benefits of this, you'll gradually get rid of that issue you have with the dry skin on your surface of your skin. And at the same time, you would minimize as much moisture loss as possible. And I got another question during pregnancy. Can we use those? Are you talking about the clay cleanser, or all the products should be fine used during pregnancy? I don't know the exact. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I would just check because you know, pregnancy is a really important stage of a mom's life, and you also, you know, it not only affects your baby, but you know, any vulnerable things that happen during your pregnancy also like could long-term affect the mom. So I know there's a lot of like ingredient precautions or whatnot that is required, or foods you shouldn't eat. So I don't believe that there's any complications with using our products for pregnant women, but I don't know the specific chemistries and the medicine aspect interaction behind things. Like I also don't know what kind of medications you may be taking or whatnot. So I would just ask, as a woman, if I were a mom and I was pregnant, I would just be hyper, like, I would just like to ask everything to my doctor just to double confirm things. So I also have another question. How much is it in euro? I always get asked the prices for these things. I actually don't know the price in euro, but we are launching all of these products in Europe. And you're going to be able to find it in, I'm not going to reveal it yet, but it's going to be in one of those really, really massively spread out beauty retail chains across Europe. And as well as we're going to be in a very prestigious department store launching in June in the UK as well. So you are going to be able to obtain a lot of these products in your home country, as well as be able to purchase them in euro. And that pricing is, of course, dependent on all our retail partnerships. So I do not know what their retail price would be marked as. So that would be something that you have to wait until the summer. But yeah, but we are going to be available for you guys. So you might be able to just like walk to the store and get it yourself. So we're really excited about that. So I also got a question, Austria as well. I don't know. I know that we are definitely going to be in Germany at some point. A lot of the Northern European countries, some of the Eastern European countries as well. we're constantly rapidly expanding because our demand, the Neogen is really popular in Europe, and it's been we've been very blessed by all the great feedback we've been getting from that market, the European market. And yes, we're actually, France is kind of what we are also, like another one that we're kind of in the progress of getting it rolling faster. So all of these are already in the works. Exactly what month they're gonna be available, I don't know the exact date. And a lot of these, you know, I have to keep some things confidential because you guys, I think it's great to like deliver a surprise. We're here. But you'll be seeing stuff, like I'll be hinting you guys and sending out little sneak peeks on Instagram stories, on, you know, on the blogs, also in a lot of like the Instagram postings. I'll hint it in the captions for all of our European market audience and customers and fans of Neogen. So we're really excited about that. So yeah, back to this. So this pore brush, I think it's great. If you tend to have very sensitive skin, or like the previous, I forgot who it was. Sorry, I can't see like the text very well. 1 second. So no, I'm not nervous. I just actually can't see your text. So I'm trying to read everybody's comments, but the bottom part of my texting is a little blocked. So I have to wait until it climbs up for people to write comments for it to come up, so that I could see what people wrote, because there's like a piece of tape that's blocking it that we use to mount on the camera. So anyhow, those are so these are good for people who have really dry skin. I would opt for something that's a lot more gentle. If you feel, also some people have actually a lot of irritation when it comes to clays. I guess for really sensitive skins, they tend to react like it's a little bit too irritating for them. So for people like that, I usually try to tell them, you know, try using the coconut milk cleanser. Try using not as like, because another thing about clay is that you have to realize when it dries up, it usually comes in a paste that usually has some type of moisture mixed in it to make the paste. So when you put that on, it usually requires people to leave it on and let it dry. So in that drying up process, you know, it kind of does squeeze your skin, and that could, to some people, like I have that skin issue where even when you get slight abrasion, it's gonna start pretty much swelling. So if you have skin like that, then people like that, even that little tightening effect from the drying clay could be very irritating. So in regards to that and people who have those issues, I suggest we have the fresh foam cleansers, which are all naturally derived, very gentle, non-stripping. It only wipes away what you need to wipe and leaves all your natural moisture. And it also has moisturizing, replenishing ingredients in it. I would use that with the pore brush because you still suffer from the dead, flaky skin. And then, or the coconut milk cleanser. And so I also got another question now. My pores look okay normally, but clog up faster using makeup. I have tried many makeup brands, but no luck. It is a process to get them back to normal. I have sensitive skin. Okay. Okay. Technically, and this is something I confirmed with my, our really bright lab team members who develop all these amazing formulas. I told them, is it true that if you use makeup from an early age for a longer period of time, that overall you're gonna have worse skin than people who don't use makeup often in their lifetime? And our lab team said that's absolutely not true, because as long as you cleanse properly, there should be no issues or difference in people who use makeup and people who don't use makeup, because if you're cleansing properly, it shouldn't be affecting your overall skin health. So my suggestion is, like, you should definitely try to use that towel method to check, first of all, because if your pores are clogging faster and faster using makeup, I don't know, I think there is an issue, like, unless some of the products that the makeup products that you're using have substances that trigger oil production, or something that's affecting the balance of like oil and moisture production in your skin. Technically, as long as you cleanse properly, your pores shouldn't be clogging up faster and faster, as long as every day your daily cleansing is getting all that makeup application off properly, and you're not leaving any clogged up debris in your pores. But in the process of like, you're saying that, is it possible to get them back to normal? You can get your pores back to a normal clean state, but eventually your pores are opening, so the bigger they are, and if you stretch them out, then obviously then you have a bigger hole that, as I told you, like once you like create and stretch out your pores, it's hard to kind of minimize them again. So if that's the case, you're gonna have to, like, obviously then that means it's easier for things to get lodged in there and for you to get blackheads and whiteheads. So yeah, it's possible to get your pores back to that clean state it was before you started using a lot of makeup. But in regards to the long-term effect that a lot of the stretching and enlarging that has happened from your pores being clogged by your makeup, that's gonna be something, the size that how it's stretched out is gonna be something that's more difficult. But in regards to getting them back into a clean shape and maintaining them so that there's nothing lodged inside your pores and maintaining them clean, that's something that you could definitely achieve back to normal, as long as you routinely and thoroughly cleanse your skin so that all those debris, impurities, and pores, and every single pore is cleansed out properly every night. And I also got another question. In the summer, my T-zone is more oily. How often can I use the peeling pads? Sorry. I have the wine lemon and lemon caviar. Wow, you really love the pads, our little exfoliation pads. So these are the ones that she was talking about. And of course, this one comes in the green tea, wine, and lemon. This one comes in gold, black caviar, and lemon green caviar. So these, I believe, are the ones you're saying you're using. T-zone getting more oily, that has nothing to do with exfoliation. So I don't think it's something where you have to increase your exfoliation frequency in the week. I think it's more of also, like, this is important. I don't know exactly what your skin regimen is like, but the biggest issue that a lot of dermatologists are seeing, and a lot of research, based on research, they're noticing is that a lot of these adult acne problems and oil problems and breakout problems that are occurring in adults past their puberty age is actually happening a lot, surprisingly, because of over cleansing. So when you cleanse too much, you're stripping even the naturally needed oils and moisture from your skin and the nutrients from your skin. So what then your oil glands start to think, and what your skin starts to think, is like, oh no, like I'm dry, I need to lubricate more. So it's gonna actually overproduce oil. So I think in the summertime, this is a common mistake that a lot of people tend to have, because they see the gleaming, because you start to sweat, you start to shine more, that automatically people resort to cleaning their face more frequently. And a lot of the times, that gives an adverse effect of what they wanted. They wanted to have like a powdery matte, nice semi-matte finish in the summertime, but while trying to achieve that, they overdid the cleansing. And so in return, they told their skin, get oilier, produce more oil. And so then it's creating even more of an oil problem on their T-zone and the U-zone. So the peeling pads, I recommend twice a week. And if you have sensitive skin, like people tell me, like some people use it 3 times a week, but I personally have thinner skin and I have sensitive skin. So I could only exfoliate probably twice a week. But I would probably use 2 to 3 times a week, depending on how your skin feels. You don't want to like over exfoliate where it's going to agitate your skin. You just want to do it just enough so that you maintain and you don't accumulate any dead skin cells that block your pores. Also, I also got, we have a teen. She's 15. Is it bad for my skin to do a 10-step skincare routine? Not at all. So skincare, the earlier you start, as long as you know you know you're doing it properly, and you know the functions behind each skincare step, the more tuned in you are with skincare since an early age, it's on the long term gonna keep your skin in better shape. So if you start maintaining a really good strict cleansing regimen earlier on in your life, you're overall gonna have tighter, fresher, cleaner pores, and your pores are probably, versus somebody who didn't care about cleansing property and would sleep with makeup on, versus a girl who was always very strict about cleansing her makeup and never going to bed without cleansing. There's going to be a difference in how visibly stretched out the pores get over time. So I don't think that there's ever an age too young for skincare and engaging and being interested in thorough skincare. So like, actually, I'm proud of you. It's actually a good thing that you're very aware of it. Another thing that's important is that the earlier you start SPF protection as a habit, it's gonna benefit you greatly. So pore care and pretty much sun care is pretty much the essentials to overall having the best skin that you can achieve with the natural aging process on the long term. So somebody said to me, because people told me I overdo skincare. Because people told me, oh, I don't know, like in what aspect people are telling you overdo skincare? Is it like in a process of cleansing? As I said, some people can over cleanse, and over cleansing could be very stripping and actually produce a negative effect. So I don't know exactly when people are saying that you're overdoing it, in like what kind of scenario it is, but as I said, if you feel better, you're comfortable with it, and this is a passion too. Like it's something that you enjoy and you feel fulfillment out of, I don't think there's anything you can overdo. I think that people should follow what makes them happy, and in that process, any kind of like experience that they enjoy doing, I think that that's what's important. You know, everybody has their hobbies, everybody has their interests. That's why everybody goes on to like have different occupations and different professions, because they feel passionate about those certain things. So I always tell people, you know, when I was Miss Korea, I had a lot of young girls like come to me, and they're just like, I'm like, you know, a lot of them, like these little girls will come up to me and tell me like, my friend says that I'm like this, and they're like 7, and you know, they're getting bullied in school, or like people are, you know, other kids in the class are making fun of them about certain things, whether it's about physical appearance or some kind of interest they like. I always tell them like, I always tell them that in the end, what makes up who you are is personality, and also I think the most beautiful thing that people eventually, when they get old enough and they mature, what people notice is the fact that if somebody looks like they're fully enjoying their life and loving what they're doing, that starts to look like the most beautiful person. And so I just always like to tell that to people who talk to me about like, oh, my friends always accuse me of this, they always make fun of me for this, and I always tell them like, does it make you happy? If it makes you happy and this is your passion, you should keep learning about it, and in the end, you should be happy and you should enjoy your life, right? Anyhow, yes, you use SPF every day, and that's great. SPF, I really don't even think SPF should be called skincare. It should just be called like an automatic, like brushing your teeth. So how often are you supposed to apply sunscreen if you're out and about for the day? If you're out and about for the day, you're supposed to apply sunscreen about 2 to 4 hours, every 2 to 4 hours, depending on what kind of, like how the formula, whether it was made for like a more hardcore like wear, meaning it's more waterproof formula or long lasting. Depending on the formulation, if you sweat a lot and you're not wearing a waterproof, like high performance sunscreen, then your sunscreen is probably already like washing away with the sweat. So even that 2 to 4 I bet you that you're already losing some of the efficacy of the SPF strength during your sweating process. So it all depends on all these things come into calculation. So if you are going to be out and about in the day, you're going to be bathing a lot in the water and everything, I believe that you should definitely get more waterproof and high perform or long lasting. If you don't like that very stubborn, like really thick white residue thing going on with the sports ones, I suggest using long lasting protector like our daylight protection sunscreen. That's meant to be formulated so that it stays on a little longer, but yet it's not like that hardcore, like crazy sports performance, like the ones that, you know, the ones that like those, you know, those Abercrombie and Fitch boys in the swimsuits wear outside of the stores with the little lifeguard like sunscreen on. If you don't want that look, then of course the long lasting protector is meant to be a lot longer lasting than normal standard sunscreens that can't withstand any kind of sweating or whatever. So maybe try to use that. And always think about, I always have sunscreens for different functions. So if it's just sunscreen when I'm going to work every day, I don't really specifically look for something that's like hardcore, like lasting. And I usually try to look for a lighter and a water-based because I'm going to be applying it more frequently instead. And if I'm going out to like running and stuff, I try to use like, I don't really care. I don't care about how it leaves that like white streak. I'm more worried about it protecting my skin. When I'm in the sun and running along the highway, I go for the most hardcore ones that last forever. So that's that. So back to pore care. So I explained the whole process of cleansing properly, making sure to exfoliate properly so that things, debris don't get accumulated and block your pore openings. Also, oh yeah, and another big one is your skin temperature. So you know how people say it's nice to sometimes do like a steam treatment to kind of open up your pores to let out the oils and stuff? That's good. People think that because that treatment is like things that professional skincare spas do, that applying heat to your face overall is something that's really good for your pores. That concept is because of the fact that they're just doing this to temporarily expand your pores a little so that they can get excess oils out that are lodged inside your pores. Whether you're getting like an extraction treatment of like pimples or like whiteheads or blackheads, it allows, when your pores stretch out, it's gonna allow you to squeeze out those oils and everything stuck in there easier. But that's the only reason why they do it. Just constantly applying continuous heat to your skin is just stretching out your pores. That's why when people go to bathhouses in Korea, people think a lot of the Korean bathhouses are becoming very popular. I, for instance, this is a tradition in my family. I'm Korean. I was raised Korean, even though I was born here. The thing is that we go to bathhouses every month. But Koreans do bathhouses just purely to soak their dead skin cells off, like so that they can scrub them off. It has like nothing to do with, we don't routinely go to the bathhouse like every day and sit ourselves in the cool, in the hot temperature, because Korean women, you guys know that they're really skincare savvy. They know it's horrible for your skin to be in like hot climate and temperature constantly. So that's why Korean women are all about the facial mist. Even their sunscreens now have that cooling effects, so that not just does it protect your skin from the sun, but it also has a cooling formula where it almost gives that like ice cold impact when it's as you're applying the sunscreen on. So now that they even have products like that. So, and you notice if you ever went to a Korean bathhouse, you see the women, even when they're in the bathhouse in the hot water to soak the dead skin cells off, right after they're done with their scrubbing, they jump right into the cold, like freezing cold Arctic cold water. And so people don't see people just think of bathhouse and they're like, oh, heat must be really good for your skin because the Korean women are doing it. It's not. You should see how they do it. They always make sure to contract those stretched out pores by jumping into like ice cold water. And so this is something that's very important. That's how much important maintaining, like, try to not to expose your skin and your pores to high heat and hotter than normal temperatures. That's how crucial it is, because otherwise you're just constantly like stretching and expanding your pores. So that's why I tell people to people who tend to run a lot, people who do a lot of sports, you're creating more heat. You're creating a lot more heat, increasing your body heat and your skin temperature. Even though you're sweating to help cool it off, it's still increasing your skin temperature, meaning your pores are expanding at that moment. So I always tell people to try to carry around a mist. I know the mists are a little bit newer in the Western market, but mists have been, I think the first ones introduced in the US was the Evian ones, and then Avin, they're known for their like thermal spring water mists and stuff. But mists has been using, like, mists have been like part of every like woman in Korea, like always has like a mist on their vacation, whether they checked it into their bag or they have the carry-on ones. So if you really want to do skincare proper like a Korean woman, you gotta have a mist. And this is always like, I have one in my bag all the time. Every single handbag I have some type of mist in there, whether it's a travel size or a full size. It's almost like, it's just like, I know even if I change bags, I'm gonna have some type of mist in there, especially in the summertime. So it's always good because this helps cool down your pores. And also toning and bringing your skin back to a balance, and using those a lot of ingredients that have like antibacterial, antifungal, antiseptic quality ingredients, like these toning pads. They have like a calming natural ingredients along with antibacterial ingredients that are really good for, because I told you it's not good to excessively wash your skin, but it's okay to do refreshers. So I always tell people, like, if it's really bothering you and you're such in a habit of doing more than 2 times cleansing a day, then I always tell people it's always okay to have little fixer-uppers in the middle. So if you say that you're feeling like, I really feel like my face is just a grease ball right now, I did already wash my face, but I just, you know, I'm just like getting really annoyed and frustrated, then I always tell them, like, okay, then maybe just like give it a quick wipe with this toning pads. And this toning pad has like witch hazel, like a lot of those really good ingredients to help soothe, calm, and just kind of bring your skin back to a normal oil and moisture balance. So these are good products to use when you want to avoid from over cleansing, but still kind of refresh your skin. This is a great way to do it. And these spritzers are also a great way to do it. A lot of the spritzers now not just have moisturizing ingredients in it, but now a lot of the spritzers have additional ingredients that are repairing or refreshing, pore refreshing. Like green tea is a very good good ingredient to have inside a mist, because it has, or Centella asiatica, because it's very repairing, as well as green tea, because green teas are very pore refreshing. So you could look for mists like this that have like added benefits to help your pores, or help to like also not just moisturize, but kind of like to benefit other skin benefits. I just got another question. What if you wear a foundation, with SPF, do you still need sunscreen underneath? Yes, that is an absolute yes. SPF in any kind of non-SPF main purpose product, skincare product, is not real SPF. You're getting only, I believe you're only getting 5 to 10% of the actual SPF efficacy. So say for instance, it's a 35 SPF product, you're probably maybe getting 5 SPF. And the reason for that is because when SPF gets tested, you're putting on this much coatness of pure SPF function products. And in reality, people don't put that much product on. Even the actual sunscreen products, that's why I'm telling you, you have to up your sunscreen. Even when you're wearing, versus 35, I would prefer 30. But especially in foundation, the SPF in foundation hardly does anything. You're really getting a real small fraction of the actual SPF that they say that is added in there. So yes, you have to wear sunscreen separately from foundation. I also got, are you supposed to be cleansing in the morning? Because I feel like since you put on oil, only skincare at night, it's unnecessary. It is necessary because skincare, we don't live in a perfect environment. We don't live in a rainforest, and even the rainforest is polluted. You're getting dust collected in your skin. You also still, your body's still alive and functioning during your REM. So